Hey everyone, it's Manel. I wanted to talk to you guys today a little bit about my decision to go through chemo as a treatment for my Hodgkin's. Um, just like people who have opinions about how they're going to parent their kids before they have kids, that was me. So, here I was, someone who had never had cancer, but I had a very strong opinion about treatments and medical establishment and all of that. And I had always told myself that if I ever got cancer, that chemo would be the absolute last ditch, last resort option, and I would never do it. And then I got cancer. And for the first month or so, probably a month and a half, I just went all natural, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get it from every angle. I went on a juicing diet, I reduced red meat, I was doing different essential oils and supplements and, just the whole thing, like totally natural. And I was just like, oh, no way am I gonna do chemo and this and that. And in the meantime, my symptoms were getting worse. And, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep at it. I need to buy myself some more time. And so every time I kind of had an appointment, I would just be like, oh, I just want a little bit more time. I just want to try this. And, and I was open to being, to having tests done and to seeing how, what stage I was at and if it was progressing or if it was, if the tumors were reducing in size and all of that. And one day, literally overnight, my symptoms got so bad, so fast. And it stayed like that for a couple days, and I was praying about it, and I was just like, the symptoms had progressed so quickly that it reached a point where, it didn't take me long, where, I was praying about it, and I was so upset about just even the idea of treatment, going the conventional route. And I just, it reached a point where physically, I had to make a decision about what I was going to do. I mean, here I was, doing all of these things that I'm sure were beneficial. I'm sure were supporting my body and supporting my healing. And at the same time, were not going fast enough. So the cancer was progressing faster than I could get at it with all of the natural remedies. And so I made the decision to start chemo. And in a lot of my videos, you're going to hear me call it treatment, and that's a very conscious decision. I rarely ever called it chemo. It even feels weird and foreign to me for me to be saying that on video. I'm really only doing it because, people searching for different perspectives on chemo, or, searching about, other people's experiences, they might not be able to find it, and so it's a very conscious decision on my part to use that terminology. However, throughout my entire journey through cancer, I have not used that term. I used the word treatment or cleansing, and again, that was a very deliberate choice because I was so afraid of the side effects. I was so afraid of all of the things that were associated with chemo. That word held a very strong meaning for me, and it conjured up different images, and it conjured up different fears and things like that. And so I didn't want that to be part of my experience. And so what I decided was, okay, I am going to go this route. I am going to start treatment. However, I told my friends and I told my family, listen, I'm calling it treatment. I'm calling it cleansing. And the reason is because I wanted to look at it in a different way. And for me, because I was so afraid and I was so worried about all of the effects and all of the things that could happen with treatment, and because of all the things that I had read or seen or whatever over the years, I decided to call it cleansing, because I thought, I had this moment where I said to myself, okay, I'm so afraid of chemo because, it's toxic, and because it it's going to kill, the cancer cells, but it's also going to kill all the good cells, and, all of this just really aggressive language. And then I was sitting in bed one day and I just went, you know what? Since I have already decided that I am going to start this treatment, since this treatment supposedly, goes in as toxic and kills all these things, I thought, you know what, why doesn't it go in there and why doesn't it kill all my old thoughts, my old patterns, my old baggage, my old fears? Just go in and kill all of it and cleanse me of it and allow me to start over. And so that's how I was able to, make that very, very difficult decision, was to look at it in a different way. Like, okay, this is happening, but you know what? Let me change it around and look at it in a way where, this medicine is going to go in and it's going to do its job. And it's also, because it is so powerful, it's going to go in and it's going to get rid of all this other old junk that I don't want anymore. Right? And so that's what became the cleansing for me. And I remember when I told my doctor about this concept, she was like, that's amazing. She's going to start using that with my patients. And it was really cool to see that, someone else got it. And so it was something that, I thought I would love to share with other people, because, you hear both sides of the story, right? You hear hear your conventional treatment, you might hear from your doctors that this is the only way and that you'll die without it, and, this, that, and the other. And then you have the other side that's just like, oh my gosh, like chemo is the cancer, causes cancer, and, chemo is a killer in and of itself. And so there's these two camps that are very fear-based, and it's very healing and it's very therapeutic to be somewhere in the middle where you're like, not doing it out of fear, but you're doing it out of, you're embracing this journey, and you're embracing that, this medicine has a purpose, and that it's going to go in, and that you can also use it for other things, right? Like, sometimes, doctors will prescribe medicine that, has a different use, or maybe was approved for something else, but it also does this. And so, with chemo or with treatment as well, you can look at it as like, okay, so, it's been regulated, or it's been, approved to beat cancer, or to heal cancer. And at the same time, you can go, okay, you know what, maybe it has other uses. Maybe I can use this to my advantage. And for me, what I did was, every time I sat in that chair to get treatment, I would do a visualization where I would imagine the medicine going into my body and going directly to the tumors, and as soon as it touched it, it would burst into these little hearts that would, circulate throughout my body. And that was my way of healing. That was my way of, supporting my own healing and supporting the medicine to do its job. And and it was very beneficial for me. I found that, a lot of the symptoms and side effects and things like that I was told that I would get, I did not get. That's not to say it was never physically challenging. It was at times. And at the same time, I really believe that my mindset and my visualizations and changing the language and changing the meaning really supported my healing as well. And so I wanted to offer you guys that, as something. And, I would like to go back to, in my videos, referring to it as treatment or cleansing. And at the same time, I really want to be supportive of people who are coming into this only knowing it as chemo. And so, that's kind of where the discrepancy is between, calling it that, and at the same time, that in real life, it's not what I called it. And so I hope this was supportive. I hope that this helped you. And if you have any questions about my own journey, or if you want support through yours, just go ahead and, write a comment below, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to hear more about my journey, and if you'd like to learn more. I will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.